Greetings, my voracious little vampires. Today we enter the tomb of 9 shiver-worthy ghosts from the South. Ghosts of Wright Square, Savannah, Georgia. Savannah has no shortage of ghost stories, and the tale of Wright Square ghosts may be the creepiest. The spooky story begins in 1724 after a man was found lying strangled on his bed. Although the deceased man, William Wise, was known to be slightly shady, his death still caused quite a stir in the community. Investigators convicted 2 of his servants, Alice Riley and Richard White. Although the 2 attempted to flee, they were eventually caught and sentenced to death. Alice's execution was delayed until after she gave birth to her son James, although Alice adamantly proclaimed innocence. 8 months later, she faced Wright Square's gallows. A short while later, her son died. Legendary has it that she haunts pregnant women and mothers with infants, searching for her lost baby. Next time you're in Savannah, notice the shortage of Spanish moss in Wright Square. According to folklore, Spanish moss will not grow where innocent blood has been spilled. The ghost of Julia LeGrare, Edisto Island, South Carolina. Legend has it that in the mid-1800s, young Julia LeGrare was visiting Edisto Island. She fell ill with diphtheria and fell into a deep coma. After being pronounced dead, she was buried in her family's crypt. When her brother passed away 15 years later, her family opened the crypt and found her body pressed against the door, trying to escape. Thought for dead, she had been alive all along. Throughout the years, the crypt's doors would randomly fall open. Eventually, even the chained stone would not remain hinged, and the family members gave up and removed the doors entirely. Some locals swear that the scratches on the inside of the crypt were made by Julia, desperately trying to escape being buried alive. Dolly Madison, Washington, D.C. Dolly Madison, the wife of 4th President of the United States, James Madison, is one of our country's most beloved First Ladies. Known for turning the D.C. swamps into a social hub, Dolly endeared everyone with her wit and charm, but she didn't like to be tested. During her time living at the White House, Dolly built a beautiful rose garden. Years later, when Miss Woodrow Wilson occupied the White House, she requested the rose garden be replaced. Legend has it that the moment workers turned their spades, Dolly's ghost arrived and chased them all away. The Myrtles, Chloe. St. Francisville, Louisiana. One of the legendary many spirits haunting the Myrtles plantation in St. Francisville, Louisiana, the ghost of Chloe may be the most notorious. According to legend, Clark Woodruff, owner of the estate, was having an affair with Chloe, a house servant. Eventually, Woodruff tired of Chloe, and Chloe, fearing she would be sent back to the fields to work, began eavesdropping on family conversations to see if they spoke of her. Woodruff caught her and cut off her ear as punishment. To hide the scar, she always wore a green scarf. Now, nobody knows if Chloe did what she did next to get back in the family's good graces, or as revenge. She slowly poisoned a birthday cake, and Woodruff's wife and 2 children died. The other servants, ashamed at Chloe's evil acts, hung her in a nearby tree. While this legend may be pure folklore, a mysterious photograph of a woman's figure lurking in a shaded corner, taken in 1992, has perpetuated Chloe's myth. The Red Lady of Huntington, Montgomery, Alabama. In the early 20th century, a young woman named Martha started college at the Women's College of Alabama, complying with her father's will. Martha's favorite color was red, and she decorated every surface of her dorm room in Pratt Hall in the crimson shade. Because she didn't make friends easily, Martha lived alone on campus, and she was very unhappy. She retreated to her room, living in isolation, and only left her bed in the middle of the night. One evening, after failing to attend classes and dinner, Martha was found lying on the floor of her room, dead. To this day, generations of Huntington students have claimed to have witnessed Martha's ghost, the Red Lady, roaming around the halls at night, emitting a strange red glow. The ghost of Bellamy Bridge, Marianna, Florida. There are many different versions of this story. Nonetheless, the Bellamy Bridge ghost just might be Florida's most infamous, ghastly legend. Bellamy Bridge is an old steel frame bridge that spans the Chipola River just north of Marianna. On dark and foggy nights, Elizabeth Jane Bellamy is said to roam the swamps surrounding the bridge, mourning the loss of love cut short. Elizabeth was only 18 when she died. Days after marrying her husband, local politician and planner Samuel C. Bellamy, in one version, her extravagant wedding gown caught fire the night of her wedding. In another, she contracted malaria. After her death, her husband, so stricken with grief, eventually committed suicide. Visitors to the Bellamy Bridge claim to have seen fire extending from the bridge, mysterious white light, and even a ghostly figure of a young woman walking through the fog. Ghosts of the Lalaurie Mansion, New Orleans, Louisiana. To this day, Delphine Lalaurie's extravagant Creole mansion in New Orleans' French Quarter is the city's most legendary haunted house due to the gruesome torture that occurred over 200 years ago. Dr. Louis Lalaurie and his wife, Delphine, were once known to be one of the Creole society's most influential high society couple. However, Delphine soon gained a reputation for being brutally cruel to her servers, and neighbors began noticing the unexplained disappearance of parlor maids and stable boys. One night, after a fire broke out in the kitchen, firefighters discovered a chilling secret room full of tortured servants. Word spread throughout New Orleans, and angry citizens formed a mob dead set on avenging the tortured humans. The Lalauries managed to escape to France, and haunted souls began seeking revenge on the building's occupants immediately. The house fell to ruin. No one wants to live in a house haunted by tortured souls. The Ghost of Lavina Fisher, Charleston, Tennessee. Many myths surround the legend of Lavina Fisher, a 19th century Charleston woman convicted for highway robbery and hung just off of Meeting Street. Some claim she was America's first female serial killer, based on speculation that she and her husband would lure travelers to their inn, slip poison in their tea, steal their belongings, and carry their bodies out back. However, her and her husband actually belonged to a band of highway thieves and were never accused of serial murder. Still, the details surrounding her death are chilling. Believing that she would be pardoned up until the moment she was hung, Lavinia, according to legend, used her last breath to scream, "If you have a message you want to send to hell, give it to me, and I'll carry it." Her ghost still haunts the old Charleston jailhouse, and tourists still claim sightings of her ghostly apparition. The Bell Witch, Adams, Tennessee. Perhaps one of the most notorious ghosts in the world, Tennessee's Bell Witch legend has been around for over 200 years. In the early 1800s, John Bell moved his family to northwestern Tennessee's Red River settlement. A few years later, Bell encountered a strange animal sitting in the middle of his cornfield. The animal had a body of a dog and the head of a rabbit, and when Bell attempted to kill the creepy creature, it ran away. The family soon began hearing mysterious knockings, rattling chains, faint whispering, and even dog fights in the middle of the night. For years, the Bell family kept their troubles a secret. Finally, John shared his family's troubles with his neighbors, and soon the entire region had heard of the Bell Witch. After years of torment, John Bell was mysteriously poisoned, and his spirit's visits became far less. A number of theories attempt to explain the witch's presence, blaming a series of women, including Betsy Bell herself. But some local folk still insist that strange things still happen around the Red River settlement and blame the Bell Witch. Hopefully you enjoyed today's story. Please like and subscribe. It's much appreciated. Don't forget to murder that notification bell to be aware of new uploads. Feel free to submit stories to rottingsouthernrose@gmail.com. Thanks for taking the time to rot with me today.